Let me show you something. Can you see where I'm going with this? Oh yeah, I'm trying out Joshua Weissman's recipe for the ultimate homemade sourdough bread. Hi, I'm Sune, and I'm a food geek. Today I'm going to be making Joshua Weissman's ultimate homemade sourdough bread and see how it stacks up in every way. His method seems pretty standard with a levain and autolyse. Then he's mixing in the starter and then the salt. During bulk he's doing 6 stretch and folds, the first 3 at 15-minute intervals, then the remaining 3 at 30-minute intervals. He uses a proofer set to 25 degrees Celsius, 78 degrees Fahrenheit all the way during bulk, and even the autolyse is done with warm water and in the proofer. This makes it easy for him to use a specific time for the bulk, which is 4.5 hours. Note that if you want to use this recipe, the proofer is essential to the results. You will either underferment if you proof at 4.5 hours at a lower temperature, or overferment if you proof at a higher temperature. These are the choices we have to make when we publish a recipe, and there's no wrong way if you know what you're doing. If you're new to this channel, I bake a lot of sourdough bread and I make delicious food from all over the world. If you want to see more of this content, please join me by subscribing and ringing the bell so you won't miss any future videos. The dough is made with mainly bread flour. The whole grain content is pretty low at 8.5%. The hydration is a whopping 85.6%, which will be a struggle to work with if you don't have a lot of experience working with high hydration doughs. The salt content is 2% and the inoculation is 20%. To promote gluten development, Joshua is using slap and folds, which is a great technique for very hydrated doughs. If you'd like to support the channel, please consider becoming a member at Patreon. You can also buy some merch or use the links in the description for tools and ingredients. Those were the words. This is me baking Joshua Weissman's recipe. In the morning, I mix the levain by combining 70 grams of water, 35 grams of sourdough starter, 35 grams of whole grain wheat flour, and 35 grams of all-purpose flour. I mix it together and put it in my proofer. About 1.5 hours before I expect the levain to be ready, I mix the autolyse. 804 grams of strong bread flour, 75 grams of whole grain wheat flour, 660 grams of warm water. I reserve 80 grams of water for mixing in the starter and the salt later. I leave it in the proofer set to 25 degrees Celsius, 78 degrees Fahrenheit until the levain is ready. Here you see the levain after about 1.5 hours, about 6 hours after I mixed it. Then I grab my dough from the proofer and add the entire levain on top. I sprinkle some of the reserved water on top. I dimple in the starter. Then I mix using the retard method. After it's reasonably mixed, I dump the dough out onto my kitchen counter, and I slap and fold it to work the gluten. Can you tell how the dough is getting stronger? Then I let the dough rest 25 minutes in the proofer. When the time is up, I add all the salt to the top and the remaining water. Then I mix it until it's incorporated. And I top it off with another slap and fold to further develop the gluten. The dough is looking nice and strong. Then the bulk fermentation is starting. Well, it started when we mixed in the levain, but this is where we start counting 4.5 hours. After the dough has rested for 15 minutes, we'll do the first set of stretch and folds. Then after another 15 minutes, we'll do another set. And after another 15 minutes, we'll do one more set of stretch and folds. Then the dough rests for 30 minutes, and then another set of stretch and folds. Another 30 minutes rest, and another set of stretch and folds. After 30 minutes, I do the last set of stretch and folds. Then the dough rests for the rest of the 4.5 hours, which at this point is a little bit over 2 hours. Then I dump out the dough and split it in half. Well, half-ish. Then I pre-shape each piece of dough into a boule. Let the boules rest for 20 minutes on the counter. Then it's time to final shape, and we're using the tartine stitch method. I dust the top of each boule with some AP flour. I gently flip the dough over. Then I fold the bottom about 3/4 up. From the right about 3/4 over. And then all the way from the left. Then from the top down to the middle and into the sides. Then I stitch the top, the middle, and the bottom. And then I gently roll it up. And I tighten up a little bit. Then I sprinkle the Banneton with rice flour and move the shaped dough into the Banneton. I shape the other boule the exact same way. Then I let the doughs rest in the fridge until the next morning. In the morning, I heat my oven to 260 degrees Celsius, 500 degrees Fahrenheit, with my Challenger pan inside. When the Challenger is screaming, it's ready to bake. No joke. I grab the dough from the fridge, flip it onto my peel, score it, and then I put it in the oven. I bake for 20 minutes and then I take the lid off to reveal the bread. Nice oven spring. I bake 25 minutes more to get the bread super crispy. Then I take out the bread and let it cool on a wire rack. The second bread is baked the exact same way. Let's have a look at the crumb. Wow, this is a great looking bread. Let's have a sniff and taste. Nice bready smell and some good sourness. Great crunch from the crust and a wonderful taste. Yum. Let me just eat this with some butter and some flaky salt. Do you know what else is nice with some butter and flaky salt? B-roll. Alright guys, and that is it. It's a great recipe and method, albeit not for beginners. But there are so many things to learn from this recipe. And if you use a proofer, the fermentation is spot on every time, which means that leaves room to learn all the other techniques. Let me know in the comments what recipes I should be trying next. I hope you learned something today. See you next time.